I'm recording this video right now because I'm being tortured and abused with hypnosis. Hypnosis is being used to infringe my constitutional freedom of speech, my constitutional rights. It's sick and it's torture. Like, um, I'm trying to talk here and I'm trying to explain how, I'm just trying to articulate a sentence because that's what they did with the hypnosis to try to prevent me from being able to articulate sentences. So I'm explaining this right now. So there was a hypnotic metaphor that involved the message going right over little Billy's head, and that's relating to something called the critical faculty. Basically, I'm trying to articulate a sentence for it, that's all. And I'm hypnotized. I also act angry, resisting hypnotic commands, because they're trying to cover it up and trying to get away with it, but they're not able to. So with that, the little Billy hypnotic metaphor, and let me see if I can articulate this entire sentence without having to write anything down first, because that's what they've been doing with the hypnosis, is they would inhibit my ability to articulate complete sentences. I'd only be able to articulate 3 to 5 words at a time, basically. I wouldn't be able to articulate the next 3 to 5 word sentence portions until I wrote down the first 3 to 5 word sentence portions, so that they could basically make me articulate sentences out of order, inhibit my ability to write and prolong my handwriting for about several hours sometimes. Between a half an hour to an hour and 30 minutes on average for a singular sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one sentence done. This is only one sentence. So the little Billy hypnotic metaphor, they're taking my time right now. The little Billy hypnotic metaphor was compared to the Mike Mandoa Hypnosis Academy lesson on the critical faculty. Because it's not I'm trying to talk right now. The hypnosis is inhibiting me right now. I'm being tortured with hypnosis. The concept being is that's being repressed from my memory right now. I'm being tortured. This is torture. Why can't I write it? I'm not writing it first. I'm getting this done. I'm articulating a sentence first. I'm articulating a sentence. Sorry about that. They're trying to make, I was hypnotized to try to act crazy or act angry, when I would try to resist hypnotic commands so that people wouldn't believe me. Now, I've been working on this for a long time. I'm just trying to write this sentence, and it's not a difficult thing to do at all, under normal circumstances at all. So they have to deal with it. I'm being tortured. So that's what this means. Tell me what to say. I don't like this. So I'm being tortured and I'm just trying to get this done. So the little Billy hypnotic metaphor was a reference to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy lesson on the critical faculty. I was hypnotized to think the little Billy hypnotic metaphor was a reference to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy lesson on critical faculty, because the reference. So there's a few different references in here, but exposing how they framed me, for example, makes the world look like a dark and horrible place. That makes sense. Now I could go with that one sentence, and I might have to I might make more videos just to articulate the next sentences too. I'm gonna do that to them actually. So I had that one sentence done, right? And I had to go on Facebook Live just to record myself trying to write a singular sentence to do this. So I was hypnotized to think little Billy the quote little Billy, hypnotic metaphor. Sorry, I'm trying to speak right now. I was hypnotized to think that little Billy hypnotic metaphor was a reference, I'm being tortured by the way, to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy lesson. This shouldn't be taking me so long to write either at all. Reference to the Mike Mandel, write faster, don't tense up and write faster, Hypnosis Academy, don't tense up and write faster, don't tense up and write faster, lesson on the, write faster, don't tense up, write faster, don't tense up, faculty, critical faculty. And I could also say because, which is kind of like what I was wanting to do. Or I could just reference the specific part where he, because if I include that part, it's probably easier too, because he references where children don't develop critical faculties until around the age of 7. And I'm hypnotized to feel like it's painful to say this too, by the way. So, that's just further evidence of the entire situation. I shouldn't be tensing up at all. But yeah, so I was hypnotized to think that it was, I'm being tortured with hypnosis. I'm not able to speak. I'm trying to talk, but the hypnosis is torturing me. I'm just trying to talk. I'm trying to talk, and I'm being tortured with hypnosis. This is twisted. Children don't develop a critical faculty until around the age of 7, which is why you can tell a child almost anything and they'll believe you. So when Mike Mandel explains that young children don't have critical faculties, and that young children don't have critical faculties or have underdeveloped critical faculties, and the critical faculty doesn't develop until around the age of 7. Or I could say that people don't develop a critical faculty until around age 7. Which is that young children don't have critical faculties, and that critical faculties are developed around the age of 7. And this is not something that's difficult to do. The hypnosis is prolonging me. I'm just trying to articulate the sentence. And by the way, I wrote half of this sentence, and then I wanted to articulate the rest of it. That's an example of what the hypnosis has been doing to me, except in more extreme, 3 to 5 word chunks, so that I have to write all these sentence portions down before I can articulate the next sentence portion, and then reorganize them and reword them so that I can make a logical singular sentence. That's what they've been doing to me. When Mike Mandel explains that young children don't have critical faculties or have underdeveloped critical faculties, and the critical okay, so it's that and this is what they would try to make me do, right? So I'll give you the example, so I'm trying to talk, right? And it's these parts of the sentence, the idea that I'm trying to describe, right? So that would be repressed from my memory until I wrote it down. So, like, this is literally what they're doing to me. And, that difficulty speaking, bringing my mouth up, bringing my hand up to my mouth, in this shape, everything. That's what they did to try to conceal it. So moving on here, like I would have to write this stuff down, like critical faculty. Young children don't have critical faculty. And actually, I have a pretty phenomenal memory, by the way. Surprising, actually. But, so young children don't have critical faculty. Develops age 7. And then, so this is what I have written down, and I'll explain this to you, right? So this is what they've been doing to inhibit my ability to write and articulate, literally, with the hypnosis. So, and then it's the one last part. Oh, children will believe almost anything you tell them. So what I have written down right now, this is where the hypnosis is inhibiting my ability to speak and write at the same time, where I was trying to explain that. And now that I'm trying to speak and explain this, while I'm trying to write, I'm not able to write. And I've just been sitting here unable to write, and I'm trying to write. Children will believe almost anything. I exposed that actually quite well, because that was, I didn't even know my clipboard was in view like that. Oh, I guess it wasn't, but anything you tell them. And then, so this is what I have written down. Young children don't have critical faculty, develops age 7, children will believe almost anything you tell them. So those are all examples of the sentence portions that I was restricted to be able to write. And I'd have to write down every single sentence portion individually before the hypnosis would allow me to articulate the next 3 to 5 word sentence portion, approximately. So then I would write it down, and then they, when you just put them together, they don't make a logical sentence. So young children don't have critical faculty, develops age 7, children will believe almost anything you tell them. Now, what I'm trying to actually articulate is that young children don't have a critical faculty or don't develop critical faculties or have underdeveloped critical faculties, and the critical faculty doesn't develop, and that people don't develop a critical faculty until around age 7, and that children, which is why children will believe almost anything you tell them. That's what I was trying to explain. So let's go ahead and get that written down now, because this is an example of how long the hypnosis is prolonged the writing of a singular sentence. So I was hypnotized to think the Little Billy hypnotic metaphor was a reference to the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy lesson on the critical faculty, when Mike Mandel explains that young children do not have a critical faculty or they have an underdeveloped critical faculty. And the hypnosis is really inhibiting my ability to write fast right now, and inhibiting my ability to speak too. So another thing they did was they hypnotized me to feel strain, trying to talk and trying to write, and they hypnotized me. They hypnotized me to tense, to become more tense, and to experience painful muscle tension in my back the faster I tried to write, without writing any faster, so that no matter how hard, so that first of all, I would think that I was writing faster, but like the pain would distract my, was a method of making me feel like I was straining, trying to write faster. So I would feel like I was writing faster, and then I wouldn't notice how much, I wouldn't notice the speed of my pencil strokes being 5 to 10 times slower than they normally are, because the hypnosis was making me feel pain in my back and tense in my back. And just like right now, while I'm trying to explain that too, when Mike Mandel explains, so that's what they did to try to like abuse me and try to get away with it. And this is a very good video of evidence too. I like it a lot. Let me see. Do not have a critical faculty, or they have an underdeveloped critical faculty. Sorry, I'm trying to write right now and the hypnosis isn't hitting me. Have an underdeveloped critical faculty. I've been trying for hours to write this sentence, by the way. Or they have an underdeveloped critical faculty. And the critical faculty develops around age 7, and which is why children will believe almost anything you tell them. And this is an example of why they would make me write the entire sentence before I would be able to articulate the entire sentence, so that I wouldn't be able to check to make sure that the sentence was written correctly. And I would have to use multiple pieces of paper. I'm holding 3 clipboards right now. I would have to use multiple pieces of paper just to write a small portion of the... I'm trying to talk. Because the hypnosis would force me to rewrite sentences so much that I wouldn't be able to just write continuously on one piece of paper. I would have to use multiple sheets of piece of paper just to basically like scratch pad and write a singular sentence, and then after I have that first sentence done, I'd be able to go on to the other piece of paper to be able to write it down without having to erase it so many times, and just like, it's ridiculous. When Mike Mandel explains that young children do not, because it would have been easier to say at the beginning of this, earlier in the sentence, say for example, the Mike Mandel Hypnosis Academy lesson on the critical faculty, when Mike Mandel explains that the critical faculty isn't developed around age 7, and that young children do not have a critical faculty or have an underdeveloped critical faculty, which is why young children will believe almost anything you tell them. See, I have to rewrite. Dang. So, and this is what I mean, because I even wrote those things down, and it's still not in the right order. So, and I'm hypnotized to feel it's strenuous to try to explain what they're doing to me while it's happening. And I also even hypnotized to snarl and act angry, trying to when I resist hypnotic commands. This is ridiculous. So explains that that people don't develop critical faculties until around age 7. And that young children, I'm having some difficulty with this right now. I'm going to show you what I wrote and everything along those lines. And that young children do not have a critical faculty. or have an underdeveloped critical faculty. Which is why children alright, trying to finish this sentence. This is why children will believe almost anything you tell them. Great. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna show just real quick what I wrote as an example. Hold on just a second. So as you can see here where I crossed out in the middle, that's an example of like, me having to, and I'm just doing this very quickly, of me having, I can't talk, me having to, articulating the sentence out of order, right? That's just all that is. And then on this one, you can see where, like having to have a scratch pad because my short-term memory is capable of being able to keep the sentence articulated in my mind. But basically, they've been abusing me so much that they've been acting like I haven't, you know what I mean? But like, so for example, those would be sentence portions that I would be able to articulate. I'd have to articulate one sentence portion before I'd be able to articulate the next one. And then when you combine the sentence portions, they're typically going to be out of order and they're not going to be able to make a logical sentence. So then I would have to write all those down. It would take around 5 minutes to write down each sentence portion. And then I would have to reword and reorganize each sentence portion in order to articulate a complete sentence. In order to articulate and write a complete sentence. So that's that. Thanks for watching the video.